Hi, everybody. Welcome to my presentation about collaboration and talking the same language. Hola a todos e bem-vindos a minha asperchao o sobre colaborachao e o poder de me falar a mesma língua. Well, my Portuguese is not that well, so I tried. Guys, I am a huge fan of rugby and the Springbokken, which is a team from South Africa. Um, they have this amazing strategy, and this sentence it's everywhere displayed. It's about, and it always sticks to me, and it's about stronger together, which simply means work together, talk the same language, and win, and become the world champion in rugby. um, so my name is Angelica Klidas. I am from the Netherlands. I am advisor and training at the Business Data Challengers, and I work all around the world in this amazing field of data and AI literacy. And next to that, I am a lecturer at the University of Applied Sciences in Amsterdam. So today, we'll explore a topic that lies very at the core of every successful data driven organization: the power of collaboration and the importance of talking the same language in data and analytics. In my work as a consultant and a trainer, I witness every day how organizations struggle with these challenges. And they are, believe it or not, very much solvable. So, to illustrate this, I'd like to take you on a short story or journey, and it begins in ancient times. Yet the lessons we'll uncover are more relevant than ever before. So let's start about a story that you probably know. But what if I told you it holds the perfect metaphor for what often goes wrong in data teams today? One that you might never have noticed before. The Tower of Babylon, the story about it from the Bible, tells us about an ambitious construction project. And people wanted to build a tower that reached all the way to heaven, a monumental project that could only succeed through collaboration. And at first, everything went brilliantly. They shared the same vision, they spoke the same language, and worked as one team for that common goal. But then something happened, something we still recognize in many organizations today. Communication broke down. Suddenly, they spoke different languages, no longer understood each other. And what began as an ambitious joint project collapsed into chaos and confusion. Now, let me ask you, does this sound familiar? How many data and analytics projects have you seen fall? Not because the technology was not there, not because the data was missing, but simply because teams did not understand each other. Because one department spoke about customers while another one referred to users. Because conversion meant one thing to marketing, but something completely different to the data analysts or the salespeople. So at the end, the Tower of Babel, accordingly to the Bible, was never completed. Not because it was technically impossible, but because collaboration and a shared language disappeared. And that is exactly what is happening in organizations around the world today. So the good thing is, we can learn from this story. Unlike the Tower of Babel, our tower can be built. Our tower really can be built if we embrace collaboration and create a truly shared language. Together, we can turn confusion into clarity and transform in the ambitions that we have into a real achievement, a successful data and analytics project. And why? Why is it important? Let's be honest. Data and analytics has become more complex nowadays. Where once a single Excel file might have done the job, today we're dealing with an entire ecosystem of data sources, tools, models, and stakeholders, and all bringing their own expertise and their perspectives. And we have the complexity of various data sets that requires different expertise. We have complex models that require multidisciplinary knowledge, and we have individual efforts that are often insufficient. So we need various team members. We need data engineers to build an infrastructure, data scientists to develop the models, data visualization specialists to build amazing reports and dashboards, business analysts to translate outcomes into business value, and stakeholders to provide context and domain knowledge. But here's the crucial point: individual effort is no longer enough. A data scientist may build the most beautiful, sophisticated model, but without input from the business stakeholders, it lacks relevance and results will fail. A visualization specialist may create beautiful dashboards, but without the data engineer ensuring reliable data and our business analysts that need to get the right answers to the right questions or something else, we everything ends up as a pretty picture without any value, simply because we do not speak the same language and we do not cooperate with each other. When we do work efficiently together, the results are there immediately. We have better insights through diverse perspectives. The marketing manager sees patterns and the data scientist may overlook, and vice versa. We have a faster project delivery because we are no longer working in silos and reinventing the wheel. And that happens all the time, guys. Reinventing the wheel by various teams. So when we work together, when we collaborate, we will have a faster project delivery and we will not have a siloed organization. Knowledge sharing that drives innovation. True collaboration sparks new ideas and solutions no individual has come up with before. And they wouldn't have thought of it when they would work alone because collaboration leads to innovation. Higher quality outcomes because different areas of expertise complement and challenge each other. And this is how you win the ball game, guys, or the rugby game. But collaboration alone is not enough because even when we work together, we still can end up talking past each other. And that brings us to the second crucial element, which is the necessity of a common language. And this brings us actually back to the Tower of Babel. What do we mean by a common language in the context of data and analytics? It's not about Dutch versus English. It's not about Dutch versus Portuguese. It's something more fundamental. A common language in data analytics means that everyone in the organization uses the same definitions for metrics and KPIs, the same definitions for the explanation of data and data fields. It means standardized terminology for data elements so that the revenue does not mean one thing to the department and another thing to an entirely different department. And it goes beyond definitions alone. It's about data and AI literacy for everyone involved. Not everybody needs to become a data scientist, but everybody must understand the basics. How data works, what reliability means, and how to make data driven decisions. As a data literacy and AI literacy specialist, Kevin Hannigan, and my buddy in writing the book Data Literacy in Practice, and my podcast partner, Igor Alcantara, uh, your fellow Brazilian, and other bigger organizations like McKinsey, like MIT. Data is the common language of our time. Achieving data and AI literacy in your organization requires a shared mindset, language, and skills. It's all about human behavior, as I presented about in another presentation for the data talks. But yeah, there are some dangers in language barriers, right? Um, so we have miscommunication that will lead to wrong decisions. I have seen organizations invest loads of money in the wrong direction simply because the different teams use different definitions for the same concept. And they weren't speaking the same language. I worked for a big governmental organization. And when we started out a project in transferring data, we talked about a place where a client would stay during an illness. And that could be various addresses, right? It could be his own home, his parents' home, a friend's home, a hospital, a nursery. It could be various things. And when we didn't talk about those common elements, so at the end, by transferring the data, everybody was interpreted in a wrong way. And at the end, we had to reinvent everything again. And that is very, very important. And that caused a lot of inefficiency because we had different interpretations about one field. But this happens all the time in your organizations because teams at the end spend more time in explaining what they mean than actually solving problems. The focus is totally on efficient things. And perhaps worst of all, there is a loss in data and analytics and trust. When people see numbers that don't add up because everybody interprets it differently, they fall back to their gut feeling and intuition, and they will make decisions by their gut feeling. And we have only one chance in data and analytics projects, one chance to do this right, one chance to show the correct numbers, one chance to set the stage. Unfortunately, that's not very hard. There are proven best practices that help organizations to overcome these challenges. So let's go to the best practices for success. Now that we get to the practical part, what can you already start implementing in your organizations tomorrow? So let's begin with the back practices for collaboration, clear roles and responsibilities. It sounds so basically, but you'd be surprised how many projects fails because no one knows exactly who is responsible for what. Create a matrix, a Raki matrix, as we say. Make make sure that everybody knows their role and communicate this clearly. This is always one section in my project plan, a matrix, how the communication is going, and what should we tell and discuss with those stakeholders or people that are in my team. Use regular structured communication. And I don't mean more meetings, but effective meetings. Think of daily short stand ups for data teams, weekly stakeholder updates, either by mail or by a short conversation, monthly retrospectives to reflect on what worked well, and what did not work. Um, Reflect on it so you can learn from the things from the past. Share tools and platforms. Ensure that teams are not working in different systems. Invest in platforms where everybody has access, version control is possible, and transparency is central. I remember I was working for this municipality a year ago, I think, and we had this one environment where we could work and where we could have various versions of documents, scripts, and so on. That worked perfectly. Use cross-functional teams. Mix your teams. Do not put all data science to get scientists together, the business analysts in the other corner, data visualization specialist in another one. Build teams where different expertises come together and to around specific business challenges. So let them work together in a close environment. So put them together. And when it comes to developing a common language, data dictionaries and glossaries. This is the foundation of everything. Document what each metric means and how it's calculated and its limitation. Push it to the business as well. Use an intranet or a website or another tool where you can define the metrics, the definition, how it's measured, what data elements are, what is the definitions of it, how you calculate things, and so on. And keep it alive and up to date. Very, very important. That should be the foundation of everything. Convey in training and workshops on data literacy, data and AI literacy nowadays. Invest in your people. Organize workshops where non-technical stakeholders learn how to interpret the data and where technical teams learn to explain complex concepts in simple language or in simple terms. Data understanding, understanding of data types, understanding of the quality and how things are measured are a very, very, very important element. Find champions within the organization. Excuse me, I have to take a sip. Find champions within the organization. Identify people in different departments who are passionate about data and make them ambassadors. Those people can bridge the gap between data teams and their colleagues, share ideas, and create communities. create knowledge circles, innovation circles, and so on. Show and tell is a very, very powerful way to get the train going. Standardization of reports and dashboards ensure reports have a consistent layout, that metrics are always presented in the same way, and that there are clear conventions for visualizations. This is why I always advise create a style guide and communicate about it. This is the first thing I do when I enter in an organization and work in a data visualization training, for example. In this way, you will have the same style, same layout, same way of working. And an important element of, for example, is when you visualize a bar chart or a trend line or a pie chart, always start with the business question in the title. Use the subtitle and the footer in the graph to give information or tips. In this way, you provide context to your business user. As an example, in talking the same language, I worked for a big retail organization here in the Netherlands, and they are actually a worldwide company where conversion meant visitors who buy something for the web shop department, and for marketing, leads that turn into customers, and all desired actions by all sessions for the data department. So, three different definitions, three different numbers, and an endless confusion. By agreeing on one shared definition and document it, the most of the discussion will disappear, and the teams could finally focus at that moment in actually improving the conversion. But let's be honest, it's not always easy. There are challenges, and we need to face them. And oh yeah, and last touch but not least, we can also ask our help to generative AI solutions like Copilot or ChatGPT or Perplexity to find definitions, metadata, and descriptions. Right? They can help us, and that's very, very, very convenient, and it saves us a lot of time. So challenges and solutions. The first one, let's be realistic, right? About the challenges that you face, because as a data analytics project leaders, team members, and business leaders, advisors, and trainers, you all need to prepare for them. The first one, the challenge or a risk, is the resistance to change, and this is probably the biggest challenge. Teams have developed their own ways of working, their own terminology, their own truth, and suddenly you come in as an advisor and say, we are going to change, do things differently. We are going to change it. The solution in this case is small. Start small. Create wins. Don't begin with the biggest, most complex project. Start with one metric, one dashboard, one team, and show that it works. Celebrate the success and use that momentum to grow further. The second challenge is the lack of resources and time. We don't have the time for more meetings, more documentation, or more processes. I hear this all the time. Here's the key: integrate into existing processes. Work hook on projects, things that are already happening within the organization. Make it a part of what teams already do instead of adding something on top. And show time savings in the long run, like the usage of generative AI. It takes time to set up a data dictionary, I know, but how much time is wasted when teams spend hours explaining what they mean? The third challenge, different priorities. Marketing wants quick insights for campaigns, finance wants accurate reports for compliance, operations wants real time dashboards for daily decisions, and everybody has different times, different needs, and different timelines. So the solution is leadership buy in and strategic alignment. Make sure management understand why this matters and how it contributes to the organization's strategical goals. With the top down support, competing priorities become less important than the shared objective. The good news is that every organization that overcomes these challenges gains a massive competitive advantage. You're not only helping to make them better decisions, but you're also helping them to operate faster and more efficiently. And that brings us to the key question. How do we get started? Well, let's return. to where we started with the Tower of Babel. In that story, the project collapsed because collaboration and a common language disappeared. They did not understand each other anymore. But we don't have to meet the same fate. Collaboration and common language are not nice to have. They are essential for data driven success. Organizations that invest in them see better decision making, higher efficiency, and more innovation. By intentionally building a culture where teams collaborate and effectively and efficiently and speak the same language, you create a sustainable competitive advantage. And you can start today. So here we have 4 steps that can help you. So map the existing data definitions and terminology. Literally go around departments and ask, what does this metric mean to you? You'll be surprised the differences that you will uncover. Organize cross-functional workshops. Bring together people who normally do not interact. Let them work together on a concrete problem and experience the power of collaboration. Develop a data dictionary for your organization, right? I have to click. Develop a data dictionary for your organization. Very important. Start small. Choose the 10 most important metrics and make sure everybody agrees on their meaning. And let the data dictionary grow. Celebrate success to build momentum. When your first cross functional project succeeds, make sure that everybody knows. Use that success to get more people engaged and excited. You guys are in a unique position. You can be the catalysts that help organizations build their own Tower of Babel successfully. You can reach that sky. You can make the difference between teams working past each other and teams creating something great together. The question here is not if your organization will face these challenges, the question is whether you're ready to solve them.